I got a chance to help a friend install Starlink dish internet, and let me tell you, it is simple, it is fast, and it is so easy to set up. All we had to do was mount onto the roof, run the cable inside, plug in, connect to the app on your phone, and follow the steps. And that was it. We were up and running within a couple hours just because we had to crawl through a crawl space, drill a hole. We opted to go with the more expensive options of 150-foot cable because we needed about 80 feet and the cable included is only 75 feet, so we just needed a little bit more length. So we opted to go for the more expensive cable. Then we opted to go for the more expensive mounting bracket, which was the ballast, which is a V-shaped bracket with weights that you install, and then you put the dish into the mounting mechanism on that V-shaped ballast. And then we ran that cable down the side of the house, up into the crawl space, had to drill a hole bigger than what we needed for the previous dish network because the previous dish network had coaxial cable, so the hole was only slightly larger than the coaxial cable itself because they put the end of the coaxial cable on after they ran the cable up through. That's not something that you can do with Starlink because they have a weather sealed end on their USB-C cable, and that is a very chonky end, and you can't just attach it afterwards. You got to run the whole end through the hole, so we had to drill the hole bigger, which is bad for people out in the boonies because now you got critters crawling up through that hole. Easily fixed. We put insulation in that hole, covered the hole up so no critters would crawl in. Hopefully Starlink can figure out a solution to that is similar to Ethernet cable or coaxial cable, where you can put the end on after you've run the cable up through a hole that is just slightly bigger than the cable, so there's not much space for critters to crawl in. We ran that cable up into the desk. We had the indoor unit, plug that in, get power, connect it to the phone, follow the steps on the phone, up and running. The satellite dish was just automatically just angling itself, seeing what was the fastest angle, what kind of coverage you had based on the trees. Automatic analyzing thing. After 12 hours it'll show you where your dead spots are based on your trees and so on, and it'll tell you, hey, if you cut down these branches or you trim this tree back, so much better coverage. We were seeing speeds of 100 megabits per second. I've seen people on the internet get to 75 megabits per second. We were regularly getting 75 megabits per second strong, and we were seeing peaks of 150 megabits per second, which is incredible out in the boonies because she was using HughesNet before at 3 megabits per second, and she had to pay $150 a month for HughesNet, and it wasn't even fast enough for her to make a phone call over the internet, so then she had to have a landline, which was another $150 a month, and then her internet wasn't fast enough for her to stream Netflix, so then she also had to pay another $150 a month for traditional dish cable. It's not cable, but it's like dish traditional TV, and that was $150 a month, so she was paying $450 a month, and now she's canceled all three of those services. Now she's only paying for $120 a month for Starlink. Now the initial investment, it was hundreds of dollars, maybe even over $1,000 worth of equipment by the time we bought the ballast and the longer 150-foot cable. I think it's well worth it because she's saving so much money per month and she's getting so much better of a customer experience. 75 megabits per second strong and 150 megabits per second peak. She can stream Netflix and make video calls to her grandkids now. She lives out in the boonies, out where there's no internet. This is incredible. I think Starlink, for certain people out past where the internet can reach, or people that are on the go in an RV, it is an incredible piece of technology. You can say what you want about Elon Musk. I don't like him either, but you gotta admit, that is an amazing piece of technology, and it will benefit humanity if you think that the internet has benefited humanity, which is arguable. But all I'm saying is, this is pretty cool. I approve. Even though it costs a lot of money, it's certainly cheaper than HughesNet, Dish Network, and all these other monopolies that have really wrung their customers dry. This is definitely a good stopgap while we wait for fiber to be run to the rural areas for the next 150 years. Is it good for our environment? I don't know, but I would say it's cheaper. I enjoyed setting this up. I'm a nerd, but I really enjoyed it. It was fun. It was very easy. It was so simple, and it wasn't stressful at all. It was just, and it was fun, and I can recommend it, honestly. For as expensive as it is for me to recommend it, I can recommend it and not even feel bad. Now, obviously, if you're where I live, you're in the city, no, I don't recommend it for that. But if you cannot get internet, or the only internet that you can get is HughesNet at 3 megabits per second, yeah, it's worth the money, for sure. Alright, well, that's all I had to say about that, so...